All right, so today we're talking about how chasing women is why you're losing in life. I know it seems natural, it seems like what you want to do, but it's actually just shooting yourself in the foot and hurting your future self. So, what chasing looks like. Essentially, it's constant texting, DMing, Snapchatting, right? And so, what you have to realize with women is they get so much attention and validation, especially online nowadays. You could be one of hundreds or even thousands of broccoli-headed dudes on Snapchat trying to text Becky or whoever the fuck you're talking to, right? And so they get so much of this, they don't even care. You're just one of a sea of hundreds of guys, essentially. So by doing this, you also, if you're like needy and like texting a bunch of emojis and all this stuff, you're signaling that you're low value, you don't have anything going on in your life, right? And you basically gave her what she wanted. You gave her attention, which is oxygen to women. So all of this constantly is not good. You can do it occasionally, right? When you have time and you take care of everything else you have going on. But this is going to basically signal that, you're needy and you're trying to get attention from her, right? So another thing is always pursuing and chasing validation. So if you're constantly texting, going up to this chick and talking to her, trying to entertain, trying to buy her stuff, do favors and all this shit, then what you're doing is you're giving her all the power, okay? You're giving all the leverage and everything she wants, and you're getting nothing in return. So by always pursuing and always chasing validation, it makes you seem weak. Like, why do you need external validation from someone else? You should get that internally, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But this is also a no-go and basically the epitome of a simp, right? So another thing would be obsessive thoughts about a specific woman. So if you have a crush on a girl, right, and you're like projecting these traits on her that are probably not even true, that's a huge issue because you're building herself up and putting her on a pedestal in your head, and really girls get like weirded out about this. They're like, dang, like I'm just a girl, like I have air in my head. Why is he thinking like I'm all this? It makes her nervous, it makes her uncomfortable, puts her in a position of feeling like she's the lead, right? And so all of this, especially fantasizing, right? Like the idea that she's the perfect woman, she could be your wife, all these things, maybe that could be true, but by really giving that thought and bringing that to life, you're going to start acting weird, right? You're going to start like being needy and all these things, and women pick up on all of these emotions very, very well. A lot better than guys who are kind of thick in the head in a lot of cases. So obsessive thoughts, not very good. Actually terrible. Stay away from it. So all of these things are basically a time and mental energy drain, right? So instead of texting, instead of chasing, pursuing, obsessing, stalking on social media, whatever it may be, you could have put this time into bettering yourself. And by doing all of this, it's something called opportunity cost, where you waste the opportunity to do something better, and instead you're doing too much, right? So why it keeps you weak? Why does chasing and obsessing and all of these things keep you weak as a man? Well, it's essentially a failure cycle. So by chasing, you neglect your goals, right? Because that's opportunity cost. You waste time and energy that you could have spent on doing something better, like hitting the gym, getting on your purpose, right? Pursuing your career, growing a business, and working on your money, right? Those are the three kind of trifecta things that you should be working on. And if you're neglecting all of that, right, then this is not getting the time and attention it needs, right? You're not building yourself up, and you're just going to kind of wallow in self-pity and failure. So past that, when you neglect your goals, you lose respect, right? From yourself and from others and from whoever this girl is, who's, by the way, she's now talking to Chad, and she completely forgot about you, and you're in a worse place, right? So the failure cycle is neglecting your goals, you lose respect, and then you end up in a cycle of chronic frustration and bitterness, right? It's like, oh, maybe that girl, maybe she's, not the one, but this one over here, this one's different, right? So you text and pursue and obsess, and oh no, it's the same thing over and over again, right? And you neglect your gym, your purpose, your money, right? Your social skills and all these other things, and you just lose more respect, and you become more frustrated and bitter, and you become a Reddit incel, right? And or a hardcore red pill, black pill guy, and you end up in this failure cycle. So how do you escape, right? How do you escape this failure cycle and not get stuck constantly running the hamster wheel? Well, you have to focus on your purpose, right? Now, if you're really young and you have no idea what you want to do, you can start with fitness. That's very natural for guys. It's very simple. Lift weights, eat decent food, and you'll get results, right? So if you just focus on your purpose instead, good things start to happen. So if you're into fitness, if you're working on your income, building skills, applying to jobs, getting a newer job, working hard, right? Self-improvement, so taking care of yourself, skincare, diet, exercise, mental health, psychology, all of these things, then you all of a sudden start to put more time and energy into yourself. You build yourself up, you get more confidence, right? And then you build real value as a man. So you're not just out here chasing, being a simp, being retarded, all this shit, and you're actually building something for yourself. You're building yourself up, okay? And by doing that, you'll attract women passively through success. Ever since I put on 20, 30 pounds of muscle, I realized, like, wow, I get a lot more attention from women, from everybody really. But by building yourself up, getting a better career, getting in better shape, new car, apartment, whatever it might be, that's very attractive, right? And so that's what you want to do. You want to build and attract and have the women and women come to you, essentially. So you don't have to do the chasing, you can do the choosing. And with that, you can view women as an added bonus in your life and not the crowning jewel or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? So if you view women just as an added bonus, like, yeah, I'm at the gym today, but it just so happens this chick's checking me out, making eye contact 20 times, okay, maybe I'll talk to her. It's an added bonus. It's not your priority. You shouldn't care, right, if it goes one way or the other, because you always know you'll have an abundance mindset, right? And you'll be like, all right, didn't work out with this one, cool, there's 1,000 other girls I can talk to, right? I'll see them at the gym, I'll see them wherever I'm going in public, a coffee shop, out with friends, whatever the case may be. And so with that, you put yourself in a position of power, and this is how you do it as a man, by the way, and you don't put yourself in a position of weakness where you're chasing and simping and wasting your time and only getting lower and lower, degraded, right? Instead, you build yourself up and you let them come into your castle, right? So that's how it works, and I hope this video helped. Click the video appearing on your screen, and I'll see you in the next one.